Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put our First Division Coventry City winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin. It's the Sutton Podcast. Joining me today, we have got Gabriel and Stuart, and they're going to talk us through the very exciting 0-0 game at Crawley, and not at Crawley, at ours against Crawley, and we're going to look forward to Doncaster. Obviously, as I always say, engagement is important. Please like, share, do all the retweets, re-Xing, all the rest of it. And join in the conversations. It's always nice to hear people's comments. And thank you to everybody who's reached out with comments of Harry and Lewis last week, because they were actually quite nervous doing it, but they didn't need to. We're going to dive in and we will say hello to Gabriel. If you unmute yourself, because you put you on mute. But hello, how have you been? Tiny bit at the bottom of the screen. Should have your microphone in red.
Okay, yeah.
That's it.
Sorry about
That's
that.
all right.
I don't know
okay.
how it happened.
It does it automatically when the video started. So Stuart,
okay.
get yourself ready as well.
Okay.
So how have you been?
Well, for this game, I was optimistic. Generally, we are all puzzled by this start, but we have our hopes back after Saturday.
Yep, absolutely. But personally, how have you been? Any more tennis tournaments or?
No, I haven't played anything this autumn, and as I happened to tell you, I had a big sciatica problem in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, of course you did.
It's almost passed, but not completely. So I'm reluctant to try to play tennis at the moment.
Quite right. And Stuart,
hello.
Not propped up on your washing machine this week. How are you?
Good setup. Yeah, I'm doing great, to be honest, after that 4-0 win. That's
Excellent.
boosted my happiness, that has.
Yeah, but it's serotonin, isn't it? Okay, so bit of club news. The coach travel, if you book the away travel, and you can get that through John Parsons, I believe they're holding a free draw where someone's going to get one of the trips for free. Or I'm not sure if it's one or both of the trips for free, but if you're booking on the coach, you've got a chance of winning something for free. Obviously, the 50-50 is doing well, except they keep messing up the numbers and they never call my one out. They get very close, but it's never mine. And ladies won a very rare midweek game, and they won 2-1 last night. According to the highlights, it was the Fern Capello show, because literally I think she was in every single bit of the highlights, which is really, really good. And the other thing I noted here, because we were supposed to have Claire on, but she's unfortunately not very well, was today's International Handbag Day. I'm guessing you guys aren't going to have an awful lot to say about International Handbag Day. I don't know for certain, but
I've got a full list of stuff.
Excellent, lovely. Well, Claire was going to show us all of her bags. I'm ready for like a 4-hour show. But we will move on to the game yesterday. Stuart, I know you weren't at the game, you've seen the highlights, but you've seen the lineup. How excited were you at the lineup? How sort of
bit of a different one, to be honest. Steve Arnold in goal. I didn't realise he came back from injury, so I was surprised to see that. But he played superb from the highlights that I've seen. But those are obviously the best bits. I mean, that save that he pulled off, just unbelievable.
Yeah, no, he did very well and was quite dominant. We'll talk a bit more about that. But yeah, I mean, it was lots of changes, wasn't it, Gabriel? It was quite interesting.
Yeah, I can say that I anticipated Steve Arnold because I noticed that he was on the bench on Saturday. So in the pre-match discussion, somebody was saying to me that they expect to start Jack Rose, and I said, no, I believe that Jack Rose is injured and it will be Steve Arnold. So at least this one I got right.
Well, I wouldn't have got any of them.
None of the others probably. Of course, the pair Angol and Casimu was also easy to expect. Yeah,
but, almost got off to a terrible start. I know those watching on iFollow may have saw this bit, but I think it was from kickoff, maybe 8-9 seconds in. Gabriel, do you want to talk?
Not more. Unfortunately, I was on the turnstiles. I haven't seen it live. I've only seen it in the highlights. But there's huge chance. Probably, if you don't consider the crossbar in the second half that came out of nowhere, their biggest chance in the game.
Definitely. It was a definite idea to attack from the off, which is you can often catch teams cold. But first half kind of went. I mean, we've mentioned Steve Arnold. For someone coming back from injury, he did dominate his area. He was very vocal. His kicking was generally really good, and he made a couple of really good saves. So, but was there anything else in that first half, Gabriel, that kind of stood out for you apart from those chances?
No, they had, I think, 3 or 4 chances. 4 if you count also the missed shot by Steve Arnold that arrived at one of them, and he tried to. Steve Arnold was still outside of the post, so he tried to surprise him, but he went back and caught the ball. So this was the 4th chance, and two great saves from him, basically 1-on-1 with the opponent. We didn't build anything. We didn't look too good offensively. We didn't construct practically any chance. I feel that we didn't have, unless I missed something in the first 5 or 6 minutes when I was still on the turnstiles, we didn't have any chance in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, half time we got through to 0-0. It was a bit more of the same. There were sort of chances here, there, and everywhere. Some players taking their chances for the team. Some players cementing why they're not first choice. But from what you saw, did anyone stand out for you?
We had 2 very good moments in the start of the second half. The first came probably also 10 seconds into the game when we had Tope doing a 1-2 again with, I'm not sure, maybe Melor. And then being free on 16 meters on the edge of the area, but taking a shot instead of a strong shot, he went for a place shot and placed it directly at the keeper. And then we had a rebound from Casimu, and he was in a very good position inside the area, but he didn't. I think his shot went over. So in these 5 minutes, we look different. Ben Goodleaf just entered instead in the place of Milsom, so he was pushing a bit his colleagues. But then, besides the crossbar that was hit by the Crawley players, the game went scrappy, and there was nothing really to watch from the 55th minute on. There was nothing happening except the entry of Dundas.
Absolutely, the Dunda got on. Everyone was kind of excited, thinking, "Here we go, that's it, he's going to score." So again, Stuart, you wouldn't have necessarily seen it, but the old boy got on, and he actually had a few chances. There was a couple where you're like, if you could have rolled back the years, might have got there.
Should be number 1 start.
Absolutely, but the game did actually kind of, I want to say liven up, but that might be a bit of a stretch. About 83, 84 minutes, we kind of came to life a little bit and had a few chances. But yeah, it was always heading to penalties. I mean, we could have at half time just said to the referee, "I'll tell you what, let's just put this straight to penalties because no one's going to score." But penalties at the other end, Gabriel, this time. What did you think of the penalty shootout?
Well, I have no idea. When we had Dino in the first 11, you were always favorites of the penalties. Am I still?
Your camera's just switched off. Apparently.
Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, it's back on. Yeah, with Dino, I felt that we're favorites at every penalty shootout. Jack Rose also seems a goalkeeper with reflexes and able to defend well at penalties. I didn't know anything about Steve Arnold. Luckily, we had a player from Crawley shooting over the bar, so that solved it.
Well, there was someone last night, Stuart, I don't know were you at the Villa game or not, but someone last night was saying the penalty shootouts in this competition, because there's no pressure, players to score them all the time. So I mean, against Villa, it was us that missed, and we went 5-4, and against Crawley, it was their player that missed, and we won 5-4. So to be fair, that's 9 out of 10 penalties both teams scored and conceded. What's your sort of thoughts on the format of the penalty shootout, taking an extra point?
I think it's actually great, to be honest. I mean, having a 0-0 draw, it's not that exciting, and then taking it to penalties gives the fans something to like watch. It's way more exciting than just ending in 0-0 on a cold Tuesday night.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird experience, isn't it, Gabriel? Because when we lost to Villa on penalties, it was like, okay, whatever. And then the last night it was, okay, whatever. it didn't really mean a lot.
Yeah, it will be more interesting in the final stages when the win means you go over. Now it's just, okay, maybe it sets you in a better position for the last game of the groups. I don't know.
Well,
I don't even know if we want
it does, to. Yeah, I think we do. I mean, the prize money is quite good in this. But the next game is going to be important because even if it goes to a penalty shootout, basically whoever wins the next game, either penalty shootout or the match, that team's going to go through. If us or Charlton, I think we're both on 3 points. So we both need to get something from that game, which at least makes it interesting, and people who want to travel to a new ground have got something to go for.
Yeah, exactly. I want to go to Charlton. There is this 92 challenge here, and I don't feel like I'm up to it. I don't go to away games often, but I set my own challenge, which is the 14 stadiums in London. So I did all the Premier League ones, but I'm still due to arrive at the ones in Championship. I even had a ticket once for Millwall, but I couldn't go for some reason. I don't recall why. And Charlton.
Excellent. So there you go. You just need Millwall in the cup now, the FA Cup.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So as for the match, nothing exciting, but a second clean sheet in a row. Which, Stuart, I mean, how important can that be? That gives us what Matt's been saying for a few weeks, something to build on.
Yeah, to be honest, I think clean sheets, I think we're lucky with, especially in that Walsall match, and watching the highlights for that Crawley match, I think we were lucky to get a clean sheet as well. Happy that we did, because it does give that a boost to the players. It does look better than conceding, obviously.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's
absolutely.
definitely going to help.
Unbeaten in 2 now. So that's going to be what
Title charge, here we come.
Yeah, absolutely. But back to the league. Obviously, that is important. I know, Gabriel, what you're saying about how seriously are we going to take this cup competition. But Doncaster away, I think I haven't looked at the table because it terrifies me. But I think there are a couple of places above us. So what's your feeling for Saturday? What do you feel we need to get something, or we need to not lose?
It's what you call a 6 points game. It's one of the potential opponents in the fight for relegation. I feel that last year we were doing very well against them, except for the last 2 minutes at the away game. And while in spring, the Doncaster game was the last victory that I actually attended before the 4-0 of Saturday, because I missed the 3-0 against Crawley with the Scorpion King, and 5-1 against Notts. So the last victory I saw before Saturday was in February.
Love it. You mentioned the Scorpion. Don't know if it was on the highlights because I couldn't bring myself to watch them. But one of their players had a really good chance with sort of a back flick, leg up in the air kind of thing. We were all standing there going, well, if that went in, it would just have to be clap it because there's nothing you could do against that. But what are your thoughts, Stuart, on Doncaster? How sort of big is that game?
Well, my dad's a Doncaster fan, so to win this one would be absolutely brilliant. He went in the away end when we played him at our Sutton United, lovely grand.
Did he now?
Yeah, no, he's a bit of a snake. Yeah, don't know how he managed to get a ticket. Yeah, but no, I feel they had a very similar start to the season like we did. We were 92nd, they were 91st. So
yeah,
I reckon this is definitely a big one. This is one that we can win, I reckon. We've got to take our chances.
Yeah, I mean they're going to be full of confidence. I mean, I don't know if either of you heard Harry Smith's interview the other day. I think some people have taken some of his comments from a previous interview out of context where he'd said he hasn't come to Sutton to be involved in a relegation fight. And I think it was taken as a negative, whereas I think he meant he hasn't come to Sutton for that. He's come to Sutton for more of a push rather than a fight. But he seemed very confident and up for it and seems like ready for the battle, and we kind of need him. I mean, how important are you thinking he's, Gabriel?
Yeah, I think he looks crucial to me from what I've seen on Saturday. And from what I've seen in the 2 games in which he didn't play as a starter, in the game against Salford when we were like toothless without him, and also yesterday, Angol is fighting, but he doesn't seem to find the inspiration that he had when he came here for a couple of months, and then he faded away. Quite a disappointment generally, because he's a striker and he seemed to have the qualities, but he's not showing them too often.
Yeah, I mean, Stuart, it seems to be that penalty miss against Bradford just destroyed his confidence. But is it to do with what we are doing? Because I mean, Donovan Wilson, a lot of people criticised him that he's not scoring enough, and it's like, well, he's not going to play like that. That's not what he needs. He needs the ball to be played, and he's gone to Grimsby, and he's apart from he's injured, he's hit the ground running. So is it to do with how we're playing, or
no? I reckon there is a player in him. I think we just need to give him more of an opportunity. I like how we always do bring him in at later stages in the match, take off the usually Harry Smith or Aiden, and I think just giving him more opportunities in the actual league itself might boost his confidence. It's just a confidence thing, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, I've said a couple of times, and it's boring, but I would have liked to have seen a good partnership with Tashkent and Smith.
Yeah.
And then Aiden and Lee, because I feel that each one of them would bring something, each partnership would bring something different and make the defence have to think differently rather than just playing the same way. And I think that's where our problems are, is we kind of became quite predictable. But on to the Doncaster, I know predictions are wonderful and everyone loves them. But what do you think is going to happen and the score for the Doncaster game, Scott? No, Stuart. Scott's your surname.
3-0, Harry Smith. I said it last time and we won 5-1. So I reckon this might be the match, you know.
Yeah.
Hoping that's a lucky charm. We'll have to get me on, and that'll be 3-0 Harry Smith hat-trick predictions all the way through the season.
The way through. I thought he'd had a hat-trick against Walsall because we couldn't quite work out what had happened. So he kind of was bundled to the floor. We're all screeching for a penalty and couldn't quite understand what was going on. And we're like, hang on, they've given a goal. What happened? And we were thinking, did it bounce off him and go in? But no, it hit the defender. But
I'd have just given it to him. Yeah,
exactly. We should give it to him. But Gabriel, what do you reckon the score will be?
Well, I'm looking at a crappy 1-1, maybe. It's not
Okay.
going to be a spectacular game. It's going to be a fight. And because you have spoken about dream partnerships, I want to say that my dream partnership that I would have wanted to see in attack would have been Harry Smith with Olaofe on his side.
He's another one. He's gone off. He's scored 150,000 goals in the last few weeks.
No, 8. He has 8. He's among the top scorers of the league.
And Killian got a hat-trick last night.
might be a Sutton curse. No one can get goals.
Yeah. I mean, when Haaland was not going to the World Cup last year, everyone was like, "Hey, he should sign for a League Two club." And we're like, "Not Sutton, that'll ruin him. We'll absolutely destroy the boy." I'm going to go with scrappy, but a 1-0 victory for us. Hopefully in sort of dying seconds, just to get a little bit of revenge for last year at their place. But there's one other thing about the Walsall match, the Crawley match. It's our first ever female referee at Sutton United. We've had assistant referees, first female referee. She's done, I forgot her name, but she's done lots of Women's Super League, and apparently she's on the fast track to the EFL, so she's kind of given a game to see how she should sort of handles it. There was only one mistake I thought last night, and that was it Hish who got quite a strong challenge, and it was quite a long time between allowing the physio to come on. But what did you think of the referee last night, Gabriel? I mean, it was fine.
It was fine, but it wasn't a game with problems. These games in this stage are like semi-friendly, in my opinion. Yeah. But hopefully we part of her story being the first female referee to grace the Premier League, and we'll be a little part of that. That'll be nice. But how are we feeling now about the season at the moment? Are we at a turning point, or do we just need to kind of carry on and make sure we don't lose ground anymore? Stuart, what's your thoughts? I know we've had various conversations about different things on social media, but what's your kind of thought on this season?
Well, I think if you look at the bottom of the table, it's all quite close in points wise. I reckon if we just keep winning a couple of them, we should be able to just escape it and hopefully narrowly clutch onto league football.
Yeah. I mean, I did say a long time ago, I thought this season would be a struggle at some point last season. And then I said the following season would be like, okay. And then the one after is when we get promotion, because that's the 5 years. But Gabriel, what's your kind of thoughts where we are in the season? What we need to do? Are we coming out of it? Are we turning the corner, or is it still a full storm?
It's very hard to analyze this season. You start with 5-1 against Notts. Notts is now on top of the table. We are on the bottom of the table. Now 9 games without a win and then a 4-0 at home. That's really hard to understand where we are. And in the meantime, there was the victory at Wycombe, which was another very good result in the FL Cup. It's really hard to get where we are. I don't understand, and I want the following games to show that to us. The place where we need to make the points and that will save us, it's at home. So I'm not expecting necessarily a win next Saturday, but I would expect a good result. This would boost our confidence. Another defeat would maybe send us a little bit back. We need to win the next game at home. That's crucial.
Yeah, that's against Morecambe in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I mean, it's been a hard one. It's been difficult on social media recently because it's just literally every defeat, mat out. And it's like, that's not what we do. So it has been difficult, but I'm hoping that we have started to turn the corner, get a little bit of confidence back in the side. I think it was important for that performance without Eastie, because love him absolutely, but I do think there's a huge reliance on if he's not there, we struggle. So I really thought that was important. But who are we looking to? I'm guessing I know your answer already on this one, Stuart. But who are we looking to lead us in the next couple of weeks? I mean, the player you got, that's the one that's going to drag us through.
To be honest, I'm going to say Harry Beautyman, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
I thought you were going to Harry Smith there.
No, I've gone for a different Harry this time, I think. There's that one game where he said, we'll turn it around, we'll make it up. I think he's a positive energy in the squad.
Yeah, he's I think Kenny Davis actually commented on his thing of this guy bleeds yellow. So but Gabriel, who are you looking for as the kind of clutch player to take us through?
So if you speak in terms of leadership on the pitch, that's Ben Goodleaf for sure. And I said that before, and I noticed that at the game, the anniversary game for 125 years against Crew, when we scored at the 93rd minute, there was like 1.5 minute left to play, and the guy who understood and rallied the players who were extremely enthusiastic and celebrating the goal, and who made them get back to the center of the pitch to restart playing and to try to win was Ben. I noticed that 100%. He was the one who started to drag them back and to try to mobilize them. So even without armband on the wrist, on his hand, he was the leader even a year ago. That's what I felt. Of course, Easty is a major player with a major contribution, and he's leading by example, let's say, but and by what he does on the pitch. But I feel that the person who will mobilize the troops is Ben Goodleaf. The one who will help us with the goals, if he's valid and he doesn't do anything stupid anymore, is of course Harry Smith. That's our crucial player that I see that will finally be our 10-plus goal striker.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the time we were all quite harsh on him about getting that red card, and possibly harsh but fair. But then it was a surprise when Matt sort of went, "That's the first red card of his career." I was like, okay, fair enough. For the way he's expected to play, if that's his first ever red, then that's quite impressive. Or not.
But nobody saw what happened. Nobody saw. There was no replay on what happened. We don't know if it was his fault or.
It was. There was a replay. It was quite a wide replay. Their player was sort of stamping on him, and he retaliated, and the player kind of knew he was about to retaliate, and he screamed for the ref, and that's what the ref in turn saw Harry stamping. So there was provocation, but as he said at the time, I've played long enough to know I shouldn't have reacted like that. So but it's gone, and he's going to score a load more goals for us, so we're all good. We're all good. I think I've waffled enough, and thank you very much for your time, gents. We're going to get in time to listen to the BBC one now as well. So that wraps up the episode of Sutton Podcast. As always, in association with Lucky Star Gin. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for your ear attention. I'm still going to keep up with that. We will be back on Sunday to review the Doncaster game. And we are win, absolutely. 1-0, that's what we go with. And obviously listen to all your normal podcast spaces. Leave a review, leave a like on YouTube and all the other social medias. Thank you very much for your time. I think I said that. And thank you to Lucky Star Gin. Take care. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
United!